Hey, what's going on, people? It's been a minute since I've uploaded anything. I've just been busy. Summer is usually busy for me at work, but yeah, I've been trying to come up with an idea for a new video that's useful. I also want to thank everybody that's been subscribing since I guess since that Ghost of Tsushima, advice for the campaign that I originally made for the new player influx that we were going to get from the PC release. It's been great. I mean, honestly, I'm always happy if I get like 100 to 1,000 views, and I think that video is currently at like I don't know, like 40,000 or something like that, which is crazy. But yeah, thanks a lot to everybody that's been subscribing, and I'm sorry again if I haven't been as active as I would like to. But yeah, I was trying to come up with an idea for a new video that would be useful for the same sort of demographic, a lot of new players from PC and also, new players from console, but mostly, I feel like there's a lot of content out there, obviously, because the game has been now, actually, I think it was yesterday, the 4-year anniversary from release. So I kind of figured, what was that, May? Yeah, it was May. So since May till now, probably a lot of PC people are done with the campaign and trying to get into Legends. I haven't, like they patched the crossplay matchmaking, I think pretty early on. I've never played with anybody, from PC, but I'm still looking forward to the day that happens. Yeah, I don't know what kind of reasoning might be for that. Could just be luck. But anyway, I am going to try to make this short and sweet. I'm already, 2 minutes into it? Yeah, so that's good enough for an intro. Let's get into it. So the purpose of this video is to basically give people that are getting into Legends, fresh off of campaign, just trying to get a sense of what Legends is about. And, there's so many aspects to Legends, especially because there's so many different modes. But within those modes, there's commonality, right? So one of the things that you're going to see that's different is the presence of the Oni, these sort of demon-like creatures that are represented in the game as possessed Mongols. So you'll see that the Oni, like they actually don't speak. They're all like Mongols, but they don't speak in Mongolian like the rest of the Mongols. They actually speak in Japanese, so that's one of the cool things, with the lore. There's not a lot of lore in the game, but I think I've always liked the idea that Legends is sort of like the place where lore, comes from, and I would like to see that expanded in a sequel. But that's beside the point. So the Oni are exclusive to Legends. They're not obviously part of the main campaign. And so I wanted to make this guide to sort of help people out, with these new enemy types. And, I'm not going to go over any of the Mongols because you should be plenty familiar with their movesets and, kind of how to handle them from campaign. But let's focus on the Oni. Now, the scariest Oni that you're going to see is the Oni Lord. There's a red variant, and there's a white hair variant and a purple variant. And they're pretty much the same. It's just more, health, but it's pretty much the same moveset. And so one of the things that's cool is that that's one of the scariest ones, but you should not be too unfamiliar with his moveset because it's basically the Khan's moveset. So I'm just, showing here that it's actually, I got a pretty good, I got pretty good RNG here, which, with him showing all the moves that the Oni Lord, the Oni Lord does. So it's a pretty good showcase of the moveset. And this is, I think, I'm playing in Lethal Plus. And so just to show, it kind of sucks because if you get hit, you take a lot of damage. A lot of times you could get one shot, but it also means that you do a lot of damage. But yeah, this was, I think, undamaged. And just to show that it is lethal and just showing the build real quick, which honestly, like, Sarugami is so overpowered that, you know, with the good build, with a decent build, you're going to do fine against not just regular enemies, but also like duels. So yeah, let's take a look at what I like to call the pecking order. So here, I preemptively killed the Tengu. You know, I was not trying to showcase how to deal with the Tengu here, but usually I go for the Oni Archer. And this is one thing that I actually wanted to point out. So a lot of times you'll see that enemies are programmed to attack, to perform specific attacks when you're stuck in an animation, so you got to be mindful of that. These Oni brutes like to do that shockwave, you know, when you're stuck in an animation. I currently was stuck. I mean, at that point I was stuck in the critical animation. And so these guys, you got to be really familiar with that sound of them like revving up, and then that. So that attack actually has a really long wind up, and it'll do that 360 sort of backward dash spin, and it actually does a lot of damage, and it connects. If you're close enough, it'll connect more than once. So, but the wind up is pretty slow, so it's actually quite easy to, you know, you can see it coming from a distance. So yeah, this is what's tricky about all these enemies and being, you know, attacking you at the same time. They have all these attacks that if you let them, they'll just, you know, you'll just bounce from one to the next. Like if that shockwave gets you, then, you know, either the Oni Lord or the Defender. So this is the Brute. So this is the Oni Lord with the Kotenkan moveset. And then the one, so yeah, I got killed here. So that guy above me, that's the Brute. And then we have the Defender. So here I was trying to showcase how to deal with the Tengu. So it's actually, you know, everybody hates the Tengu because of that spam crow attack, which is actually not that difficult. All you have to do is circle around him, and the tracking is actually pretty bad. So it won't track you. It can't track you fast enough to keep up with you just running around him. So here I'm barely taking any damage from that. You know, it's just mostly trying to avoid the other enemies, but I was trying to get him to do the his spear attack, which he does have a spear, and it's a blue attack. So you'll see it. You'll see the blue glare right there. And as you can see, it's a really clumsy attack. It's actually really slow, and the end animation puts him in a really weak position. So this is one of the unlucky times where you happen to get the Tengu from the next defense area aggro into you. But yeah, so he won't attack while you're doing animations. For some reason, he won't do the spam crow attack. But I was just trying to show that it's actually quite easy to parry this spear, this blue spear attack. It's just, yeah, everybody's trying to attack me at the same time. So that's one of the things that's tricky about this, you know, trying to showcase something. And so, like, yeah, that Oni Lord, he does sort of like a lower, upper, lower. There it is. So he did it, but I wasn't. So the problem with parrying that move is that if he's doing the crows before that, it's difficult to see what the parry window is. But yeah, so I'm just getting rid of all of these Mongols because they don't really matter for what I'm trying to show here. And the brutes are easy to, you know, everything that they do is easy to sort of see coming. And so in the pecking order, you want to get rid of the Tengu and then any archers that are close by, because archers are also programmed to attack you in anytime your back is turned against them, or like you're stuck in an animation, they'll do a volley of fire arrows, and that'll usually take a big chunk of your health. And so with these guys, every time you hear the Oni Lord teleport, you gotta, especially when he's off screen, you gotta sort of assume, and this is one that's really, yeah. So So I actually wanted to show that. When he does the spin, sort of, that spinny attack where he will knock you down, and before you can't get up fast from that one, and so he'll connect again when he's coming down with the second part of that attack, and usually that's pretty much you're done. And the defender, you see that defender, that charge attack, you can always, is what I was talking about earlier, you can always hear it, revving up before he starts doing it. And that one actually can connect, 2, 3, 4 times, and it'll kill you. Like if you're in the center of that attack, it'll kill you. Like there's no escaping it. So just anytime you hear that sound, you got to be really, that's one of the things that's really good about this game, is like when, there's times where you feel like some attacks are pretty unfair, but the cues, the sound cues for the attacks are really, really easy to hear and identify once you're familiar with them. So even if you don't know where the attack is coming from, like right there, I heard the Oni Lord teleport, and you always have to assume that he's going to do that slam. And one thing also to pay attention to here is, so one thing about the Oni brutes is that they're actually pretty easy to stagger. So one thing you always want to keep an eye on is that stagger bar, the wide bar above the HP. So that'll tell you how close you are to staggering an enemy. And once enemies are staggered, they're actually easier. Like, you do more damage, and you get a few like free hits on them. And depending on your build, you could be doing a lot of damage. When they're staggered, because there's a property that's called, staggered damage. But yeah, so the Oni defenders can be super annoying at times. It's just a combination of them, right? And so these guys like to, especially when they're about to die, they like to teleport like crazy, and it's super annoying. This attack, which also the Khan does, you can actually just jump over the first one, you can duck for the second one and jump over the third one. And so this is one thing that I didn't show, but I should have. When you vanish or you smoke and the Oni Lord is in the middle of the attack, he'll still connect. Like it won't, I guess the animation treats it like he still knows where you are. So yeah, again, getting rid of the Tengu first. Usually I would get rid of the Archers next, but since I'm trying to showcase how to deal with the Archers, I'm actually leaving them for last. So just trying to kill everybody else, first. And one thing that I also should mention about Legends versus main campaign is that the campaign actually makes a pretty. It's kind of a big deal how you have all these different stances that you unlock, so you can, deal with all the different enemy types. And that's another cool thing. When you're vanished, you can shoot your darts, and it won't break you out of vanish. Whereas if you attack, it will, unless you're Moonmaster canceling. All right, so kill that guy. And then, so Archers, actually, if it's one, it's not as bad. If there's more than one Archer, they're kind of a nightmare to deal with, because they'll start teleporting like crazy, and then they'll start doing the volleys at the same time. And what's dangerous about this is depending on where you are, if there's grass or whatever, like most of the time, any ground can be caught on fire. So like, I think I'm about to show it right here. Oh, this is another cool tip. Like if you leave their line of sight, it'll treat it like they don't know where you are. So right now I got an assassination prompt because he lost sight of me. And so now he's just gonna teleport. That's another thing. Every time you get close to an Archer, he'll teleport away. So if you have any sort of ranged attacks, be it your ghost weapons or your ranged, let's say that you do have ammo, you just want to stay at a distance, and you can totally just shoot at them, and they'll just stand there for like a little while before and after shooting. So right now I'm just doing this for munitions, and then I could have taken them out right there. But I'm also trying to show how they'll, catch the ground on fire, and that can actually kill you if you're low enough. So you got to be mindful of that. And like I said, always pay attention to when archers and Oni defenders are close to you. If you're stuck in an animation like the samurai ult animation at the end of it, when you kill someone with the last hit, and you'll just crouch there for like 2-3 seconds, they'll light you up. Like archers will light you the hell up, and the defender will try to do the charge so that he can just one-shot you or two-shot you, depending. But yeah, archers are actually, again, another enemy that's really easy to stagger. And this is another cool tip that I wanted to show for Oni Lords. So you'll notice that every enemy, but enemies that can fly, will start every time you get, on top of any structure or you're above them, they'll try to shoot you with kunai. And actually, their kunai they can go really long distance, and they do a lot of damage. They can go like across the map, basically. Like if you're doing raids, I've noticed a lot of times it's just ridiculous. But like these guys, they'll just treat you like, the game kind of treats them like they're flying enemies. So Oni Lords you can actually just bully when you're on a surface that they can't climb onto. Like if it's a surface that they will chase you, and then they'll get on top of it too. But if it's a surface that they can climb onto, they'll just stand there like circling around, and they can't shoot kunai at you, and they'll just, you can just shoot them with whatever you have. So in a pinch, if you're waiting for your ghost weapons or whatever, that's a cool little strat to know about. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it as far as, how to deal with all the different Oni. If I think of something else, I will definitely be adding that onto maybe a separate video. But yeah, so yeah, before I go, I was talking about the stances in the game, in the base game versus Legends. And that's one of the first things that you're going to notice is how once you cross over to Legends, you only get one stance. You can get another stance, but it's not as good because you don't get the master, version of you could get either the master version of your stance or, a different way. Actually, you could do both, I guess. So you could get the master version of your stance. Let's say you have a stone katana. So you can get the master version and then a separate stance, but it won't be the master version. It'll be like the basic, which won't be as powerful. And most of the time you're better off with Way of the Flame, so you can break through enemy defenses and stuff like that. So it's difficult to kind of get used to just using one stance, unless you have the Master's Katana, which that can be fun, but it's not as effective in Legends, because in Legends, it's all about just the way that the mode works. If you're trying to be competitive, or if you're trying to be just efficient at the game, there's kind of an imbalance because it favors ranged more, just everything about Legends. But once you do get the hang of it, you'll start noticing that you actually don't need to have all, like, the Master's Katana is like, in the beginning you're like, oh my god, I gotta get that. It's like, it's such a key item, like I can't play this mode without that, right? Because how am I going to deal with all the different stances? And it's really not the case. You'll notice that you can do fine just with whatever stance is to your liking. Obviously, water is popular. Stone is also popular. Moon, if you do Moon Master Cancel, it's also very, very, very popular. But and I think Wind is probably the least popular one, just because it's so slow and not as effective as the others. But yeah, you'll notice that you can actually just deal with all the enemies between using a combination of melee, and the melee system doesn't only optimize for regular melee attacks. You have a variety of things. Some stances let you kick enemies, and that's regardless of what their stance is. If they're shield or sword or whatever. And you can also, shoulder bash. You can do a bunch of things to deal with breaking enemy stances. Like I said before, Way of the Flame will break through any stance. So yeah, it's just difficult to, I guess, adjust in the beginning, but you'll notice that once you get the hang of things and adjust a little bit to the rhythm of Legends and how it uses the combat system, you'll start having a lot of fun. But yeah, let me know in comments if there's anything else you guys would like me to cover. I think I'm already at 20 minutes. I wanted this to be shorter, so I'm going to end it here. But yeah, thanks a lot for checking this out. As always, thanks for all your feedback. I always appreciate it. And yeah, if you have any ideas for any future videos that you would like for me to make, then definitely drop those in the comments. Thanks again, and I'll catch you on the next one.